Hi YouTube. Today I'll be starting a engine rebuild on my S10. This is a 1988 S10 and it just really like this truck a lot. And what happened is I put water one time in the radiator because I had a radiator leak. I was gone, ended up freezing, and well, the engine kind of thermostat busted on it and stuff. And but not only that, it needs a like a it's leaking out the rear main. It has leaks kind of like everywhere. So it's time for an engine rebuild. It's 1988. It only has like I drove it for probably put 8,000 miles on it, and right now it's only at 99,053 miles. It belonged to an older person. It's kept really nice. I love this car. Really a nice car. I made these custom uh, things out of here. However, it got messed up here, and I learned from the process, so I will be buying a new headboard and fixing it. And well, that's the inside. But anyways, I'll be walking you through this engine build process because I know so many um, people with the S10 models do not go through with the 2.8 liter rebuild, which is like a lot of the Camaros and a lot of the cars in the 80s had the same engine. But this is a book from Chevy, the owner's manual. And pretty much, do I trust this? I really don't. Because the first page in here it shows you like a VIN and what every number and stuff means. Well, anyways, to get my exact engine for the engine rebuild, I find this. My engine type and make. And I follow it up here, and mine's a R. Well, I go down, and R is a 2.8 liter V6. Do you see that right there? V6 TBI LL2. Why does it say V8? That makes no sense. They messed up right there. I underlined it. It's a 2.6 liter V6, not a V8. And the last owner even said it's a 2.8 liter V6. So right there in page 1, they messed up already on this engine. So, well, I'm going to first get, I guess, a rebuild kit and start rebuilding this. And I'll walk you through it and show you pretty much all the steps. A lot of people, what they do is they'll start with like everything already done. They'll show you like the last half of it, or they'll show you like the first half, but no one shows the full process all the way through. They might have the block out already, all the new seals put in. They won't really walk you through that part, or all of a sudden they'll just put the heads on or the new camshaft in and not necessarily show you the specs on the camshaft, how much to torque it down or anything like that. So I'm gonna do my best with this book and a few other books. If any of you guys have any advice for me, please let me know, and I'll start, I guess, with the rebuild. All right, so this is the underneath the hood, pretty much. All of this stuff I just want to take off, paint, clean it up, just start rebuilding it. This is a new thermostat I got. This is where it actually popped off, and it bent these bolts, if you can see, which is crazy. And I hope the block's okay. So what I'm gonna do is just start taking off all this stuff. My alternator, um, first I'm gonna start with the belt. Then I'm gonna go from there. And the way I'm gonna do it is I have a 15 millimeter socket. I'm gonna place it on my tension pulley, pull it that way while I take off the belt. All right, so my first step I'm gonna do is actually loosen up the battery. And I already had it loosened up a bit. There we go. So positive and negatives off. Next step, I'm gonna take off the timing belt. Okay, so I already took off the housing before because it obviously busted. But I'm gonna go here on the tensioner pulley. Okay. Now as I push this is kind of hard without breaker bar, but as soon as you take off one, like the alternator, like I did, you just let it go, and the whole belt comes off. And I took this belt off one time, and when I reinstalled it, it made a little squeaking sound. But it is worn up pretty bad in areas, so I do need a new one. Okay, so I already have all this stuff pretty much loosened up off camera. But what I'm going to do is first remove my alternator. And I have these cords unhooked too. Alright, there's 3 bolts that hold this in. One's on the back, one's here, just like that. And you have this big boy right here. Now, just like that, your alternator is off and it can be moved. But I like to always screw the bolts back in just so I know where they are and I won't lose them. Screw this one in the back. And give it a little shake. Okay, it comes out. Now, I'm going to install this big bolt back on here too. Now my next step is I'm going to start with the air intake. I already took this bolt off right here, so this comes off just like that. Now I'm going to remove this bond hose. I already have this loosened up right here too. Took the nut off. Now here there should be 3 vacuum lines. One, which is right here. Can't pop him off. So now I got all the lines off my air intake. Screw the nut back on. I might do a different carb setup or clean it. I have no idea. If anyone has any ideas, let me know on that. Throttle body cable. And I want to leave most of this wiring stuff intact if possible. But for now, I'm just going to remove most of this wiring. Just like that. Perfect. And I might take off, I don't know if I'm going to take off the carb next or the whole intake. Not sure how I'm going to do this. Well, oh, and I'm going to take off all these hoses, get these out the way. I'm going to reuse most of these hoses because they're still perfectly fine. And my next step, I think, is the bracket to mount the that mounts on the my water pump. Take that hose off. I'm going to start by removing all the hoses on here, which is a very simple process. So for today, what I'm going to do is just try to take everything off the engine so you get to the bare bones. Alright, so what I'm going to do off camera is I already have this guy fully out. Right there, see? And I'm going to take off the power steering pump next. And what else am I going to do? I'm just going to start taking off a bunch of this small stuff in the radiator. I'm going to take off the whole radiator out, remove him so I can have access to the full engine. Then when I have access to the engine with none of this stuff on it, I'll get back to you. Okay, so I have the whole engine. Off camera, what I took out was this power steering pump. It was 3 bolts. I'm gonna leave the compressor and the pump in here because I don't want to cut these wires, and I'm just gonna move out the way. It's not that much in the way. Now the only thing I have to move is this. I have it all completely unhooked. It's just this one bolt right here is being stubborn, so I'm gonna get some PB blaster, maybe find another way if that won't work, how to remove it. Then this piece is going to come off. I'm completely done now. All of my stuff is unhooked, my throttles, my lines, every single thing's unhooked, ready to get pulled out. The only thing I need to unhook is in the bottom is these 2 screws on the exhaust on both sides. I'm going to remove them. So when I pull the engine, and I have to go on the and remove the engine housing from the transmission. I'm just going to pull the whole engine out and everything's ready to move out. But what I'm going to do off camera is take see if I can get this one bolt off. But other than that, it's ready to get pulled out. And the reason I'm not pulling out yet is because I'm in the process of moving and I just don't want to pull the engine out now. But that's how I unhooked and disconnected everything on the engine, so now I can pull out is the next step. Thanks for watching.